Hey, in today's video, I will answer the question, how can I stop procrastinating so much? Remember, this is the series where I share the things that I'm doing to be more, give more, and live more through personal development. Thank you for joining me on my journey. Now, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share. But as always, if you're here, you're interested. So let's get into it. Now, listen, the key to not procrastinating is actually changing the behaviors that are linked to your procrastination. So a lot of people don't know, but there's a link between anxiety and procrastination. It's crazy. So reducing the anxiety that you have, the anxiety triggers in your life, will also help to reduce the levels of procrastination that you experience. So I'm going to share with you my top 5 things that I do to help myself not procrastinate so much. I don't think it eliminates it altogether. I'm sure, 1,000% sure it doesn't eliminate it altogether, but I'm going to share with you my top 5 tips that I use to at least slow down the anxiety triggers that contribute to the procrastination habits that I have. The funny thing is, when we procrastinate, we don't sit and do nothing. Okay, we choose an activity to avoid doing a certain task. But what triggers that type of avoidance? Okay, so that leads us right into tip number 1. Okay, when you procrastinate, write it down. Yep, just write it down. Not to change it, but to identify it, right? What are you doing to avoid what you're supposed to be doing, right? What are you avoiding, right? What time is it that you're doing these procrastination things? Is it the same time every day, right? What is like in your environment when you start procrastinating? Keep a pen and paper in your pocket to just keep track of stuff like this. And it's very important that the pen and paper is on your person at all times, because it's going to make the tracking process a little bit more simple. It's going to make it easier for you, because you need to track the procrastination behaviors for 1 week, and then you want to do a review at the end of that week. Then try it again for just 1 more week and see what your results are by identifying your behavior. The funny thing is, in most cases, people see a reduction because they are now consciously being made aware of their behavior, right? There's actually a psychological reason that this tip works, and it's because each time you pull out that pen and paper, you're going to see that little list firsthand, just how much you're procrastinating. You're going to see like how annoying this is. Seeing this is going to help you reduce your procrastination habits automatically, because you're not going to want to pull out that piece of paper, right? So you're going to see a change from 1 week to the next just by actively observing the behavior. Okay, now for tip number 2. Okay, when we procrastinate, we clearly don't do nothing. So now that we've identified some of the people, places, things, and activities that trigger our procrastination, we can actually interrupt the triggers, right? You can kind of cut them off at the pass. Have you ever been stuck in like a social media rabbit hole where you just scroll and scroll and scroll? Have you gone like down a Google till you pass out session or a YouTube university moment? Right? Countless hours spent. And it's usually avoiding the thing that you actually wanted to complete, something, a task or something that you said you wanted to do. So if you're aware that you're about to procrastinate or that you've already started to procrastinate, stop. Sit and do nothing but maybe think about why you want to complete the task that you're avoiding. Think about the reward that you're going to give yourself after the task is complete. Or just think about how to break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces for about 15 to 20 minutes. Doing nothing is going to prevent you from doing something, which will allow you to start the activity that you're avoiding. Okay, comment below what do you do when you procrastinate? Let me know. Moving right along to tip number 3, try not to feel overly motivated to complete the task. And I know that sounds completely counterproductive or counterintuitive, but try not to hype yourself up too much. Remember earlier we said anxiety is a contributing factor to procrastination? Well, feeling motivated about a task and then not completing it can lead to anxiety. So we want to reduce our anxiety and stress triggers, okay? We're naturally wired to avoid uncomfortable situations. So if you are overly motivated about completing a task, then when you don't complete the task, you're going to avoid it again. So you want to reduce any anxiety triggers that you might have. So don't overly motivate yourself. The more mental resources that you spend trying to keep yourself motivated to complete a task, it actually gives you less mental resources to actually complete the task that you're trying to complete. So don't do that. Okay? Listen, and it includes people, places, and things too. If an anxiety trigger is present, you might actually not want to engage in that particular activity at that moment, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to have as much mental and even emotional availability within yourself to move forward. And if you're putting extra stress and pressure on yourself, it's going to take away from that. So don't overly motivate yourself, okay? Sounds counterintuitive, but research shows, and they've done like scientific studies on it and stuff. It's really weird. But yes, moving on to tip number 4, right? Listen, tip number 4 is making a checklist. Y'all know I love lists. I'm a list person. Not everybody's a list person, but do me a favor. Make a list if you want to stop procrastinating. Break your task down into bite-sized pieces. Create a list of bite-sized pieces of things for you to do, right? If a task would normally take you an hour to do, maybe break it down into 3 different 20-minute chunks, you know? Have you ever thought about how many bricks it took to complete the Empire State Building? No? It doesn't even matter. Either way it goes, they had to go 1 brick at a time. So you need to be doing the same thing with your task. Don't forget to celebrate each time you complete one of these mini milestones. Okay? Comment below, what was the last achievement that you celebrated for yourself? Not the last one you made, but the last one you actually celebrated. Let me know in the comments. Okay? And then last is tip number 5. To further reduce how much procrastination like we actually have, consider doing a dopamine detox. Now, you guys have heard me talk about this before on the channel. I am a proponent of dopamine detoxes. During a dopamine detox, a person avoids dopamine triggers for a set period of time. And that's anywhere from like an hour to a couple days, a week or whatever. But I'm going to suggest doing this one for just 1 day, okay? Because it's excruciating for people who've never done it. So do it for just 1 day. And the dopamine detox requires you to avoid any type of like arousal specific activities, anything that gives you pleasure. Okay, yep, you are going to be very, very not even vanilla. You're going to be like plain white paper. Okay, like there's nothing there that is overly stimulating. Okay, so anything that stimulates dopamine production is off limits while you're doing the detox. Okay, do me a favor, head over to my Instagram page. There's going to be a post with the instructions as well as 3 different levels that you can use to participate. There is a beginner, an intermediate, and an expert detoxer. But this is going to be our Chrissy Pips challenge for the week, the coming week. Okay, so if you have questions throughout the week for things that come up during your challenge, because I suggest you do the challenge this weekend, right? But if you have questions that come up about just whatever while you're doing the challenge, go ahead and hit me up on Instagram. I'll be happy to answer the questions. I'm going to put together a post of just lots of stuff that you can do, right? As well as some very specific things that you should be avoiding. Okay, I hope you found this information to be helpful, and I hope your detox goes well. But as always, I hope you're having an absolutely amazing morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and